Work your butt off.
Anything which is significantly innovative is going to come with a significant risk of failure.
The test is whether you keep learning as you go along.
No matter how good we are, we can still be better.
If you want it, if you want this, it's work.
It's really hard work. But lots of people do that and do not succeed.
Hey, everybody's got the will to win, but it's only those with the will to prepare that do win.
And say, what's the most important key to success? I think it's hunger.
They say to me, what is the secret to success? You have to dig deep down and ask yourselves, who do you want to be? Not what, but who. And I'm talking about not what your parents and teachers want you to be, but you. I'm talking about figuring out for yourselves what makes you happy. No matter how crazy it may sound to the people. Trust yourself. Everyone had the same line that it can't be done. The rules are different here. It says, look at your body. You have this huge, monstrous body, overly developed, that doesn't fit into the movies. And the agent also complained about my accent. He says, no one ever became a star with an accent like that, especially not with a German accent. And yes, I can imagine with your name, Arnold Schwarzenschnitzel, or whatever the name is, on a billboard. Yeah, that's going to draw a lot of tickets and sell a lot of tickets. Yeah, right. So this is the kind of negative attitude they had, but I didn't listen to those rules. You have to think outside the box. That's what I believe. After all, what is the point of being on this earth if all you want to do is be liked by everyone and avoid trouble? The only way that I ever got any place was by breaking some of the rules. There's some people that just like to kick back and coast through life, and others want to be very intense and want to be number one and want to be successful. And that's like me. I always wanted to be very intense. I always wanted to be number one. I took it very seriously in my career. And so this intensity always paid off for me. This commitment always paid off for me. I was convinced I could do it, that if I worked as hard as I did in bodybuilding, 5 hours a day, and I started getting to work, and finally I broke through. And there the director said, if we wouldn't have Schwarzenegger, we would have to build one. Now think about that. And then when I did Terminator, I'll be back. Became one of the most famous lines in movie history, all because of my crazy accent. Now think about it, the things that the agent said would be totally a detriment and would be impossible for me to get a job, all of a sudden became an asset for me. All of those things, my accent, my body and everything. So it just shows you never listen to that you can't do something. Don't be afraid to fail. Anything I've ever attempted, I was always willing to fail. Don't listen to the naysayers. I mean, how many times have you heard that you can't do this and you can't do that and it has never been done before? Just imagine if Bill Gates had quit when people say it can't be done. I hear this all the time. As a matter of fact, I love it when someone says that no one has ever done this before, because then when I do it, that means that I'm the first one that has done it. So pay no attention to the people that say it can't be done. I always listen to myself and said, yes, you can. Work your butt off. You never want to fail because you didn't work hard enough. I never wanted to lose a competition or lose an election because I didn't work hard enough. I always believed leaving no stone unturned. Muhammad Ali, one of my great heroes, had a great line in the 70s when he was asked, how many sit-ups do you do? He said, I don't count my sit-ups. I only start counting when it starts hurting. When I feel pain, that's when I start counting, because that's when it really counts. That's what makes you a champion. And that's the way it is with everything. No pain, no gain. Just remember, you can't climb the ladder of success with your hands in a pocket.
That was all risk, because I literally was putting everything that I had on the line for something. People just laughed at me and said, oh, that's just dumb, all right? And so being able to overcome all that resistance, and we had to take it on faith that all this was going to grow.
Most people do a lot of talking and most people don't put in the effort. There's nothing you can accomplish in life with the right amount of work. The challenge is, are you willing to do the work? And the reality is most people aren't, but that's the opportunity, right? It's like people you know at school. Most people are lazy, right? They barely get through it, and so that creates opportunity.
Hey, everybody's got the will to win, but it's only those with the will to prepare that do win. And the same applies to business. We've all seen our friends go out there and just wing it. You know, it's my passion. We're all passionate about something. I'm passionate about basketball. Doesn't make me an NBA player, right? It's not just about passion. It's not just about saying I'm doing it. It's not even about incorporating. It's not about the idea. It's about, are you prepared and are you willing to do the work?
If you want it, if you want this, is work. Nobody you know has become successful outside of it being given to them from their family. Nobody you know has actually created success without working their face off. It doesn't exist. So you can sit and talk about luck, and you can sit and talk about this, that, or the other thing, but I promise you, the only controllable thing you have is your work ethic. If you've got a big mouth, and a lot of you do here, search the hashtag, and a lot of you say CEO, founder, owner. I call that big mouth. I came out the gate, and I worked every day for 13 years before I said a goddamn word to anybody. I talk a whole lot now, and I've made up for those 13 years of silence. But I just want to remind everybody that I didn't make a video to the world about anything about business until I was 35 years old, after I worked every single day from the time I was 22 and in reality 14. And then I started talking. There's a whole lot of talking going on. How about more action? How about more execution? How about more paying prices for what your mouth is saying? That is what I hope you do. But I promise you, you will not get there with your big idea. I promise you, sitting around and saying, oh, I had that idea for Uber before Uber did. You need to deploy serious self-awareness and figure out who you are. I implore you to start matching your work ethic and your actions to your mouth. If you're gonna be a billionaire, you need to realize that most people that create $1 billion worth of wealth don't do anything besides work every single day of their 20s and 30s. All of them. I'm playing for legacy. I'm playing for all time. I'm looking to impact every generation that comes behind me because I want to show that you can build all-time wealth, all-time greatness, doing it the right way and the old way. That's what I'm up to. So please make sure you understand that, and more importantly, make sure you understand yourself so that you can reverse engineer that blueprint and figure out where you fit within that and then deploy it.
What's the difference between really believing in your ideals and sticking to them versus pursuing some unrealistic dream? And that is a really difficult thing to tell you. Can you tell the difference between those two things? So you need to be sort of very rigorous in your self-analysis, and then just work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in, 80 to 100-hour weeks every week. If other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks and you're putting in 100-hour work weeks, then even if you're doing the same thing, you know that in 1 year you will achieve what they achieve. You will achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to achieve. So many people try to talk me out of starting a rocket company. It was crazy. One good friend of mine collected a whole series of videos of rockets blowing up and made me watch those. He just didn't want me to lose all my money. We're doing these things that seem unlikely to succeed, and we've been fortunate, and at least thus far they have succeeded. A lot of things are very risky with a low chance of success, but if you want to try to come up with an innovative breakthrough, that's going to be how it is. Anything which is significantly innovative is going to come with a significant risk of failure. But if you've got to take big chances in order for the potential for a big positive outcome. And if the outcome is exciting enough, then taking a big risk is worthwhile.
when I had a record company, people thought we were completely mad to go from having a record company to going into the airline business. And my bank thought I was absolutely mad. And when we arrived back from our inaugural flight, the bank manager was sitting on my doorstep and telling me that they were going to foreclose on the whole of the Virgin little empire. And fortunately, over the weekend, I managed to scramble enough money together from various licensees we had around the world to get rid of that bank and move on to another bank. To create a business, you've got to initially work day and night, weekends. It's really hard work. But lots of people do that and do not succeed. And so those of us who have succeeded do need to say, do need to thank our lucky stars for the breakthroughs that got us to the top. The most important thing about running a company is to remember all the time what a company is. A company is simply a group of people. And as a leader of people, you have to be a great listener, you have to be a great motivator, you have to be very good at praising and looking for the best in people. People are no different from flowers. If you water flowers, they flourish. If you praise people, they flourish. And that's a critical attribute of a leader.
Simple rules like that, delighting customers, working through other people, associating with people that will cause you to move in a better path than you might otherwise have. They will take you so far in life that it's hard to believe. Henry Ford, as you may know, failed twice before he started the Ford Motor Company in 1903. I mean, the test isn't whether you get the greatest business idea in the world the first time out. The test is whether you keep learning as you go along what your strengths are and what you can do for your customers, what you can bring especially to the party. And to do that, you need the education that I know you've received through 10,000 small businesses, but you need a genuine desire day in, day out to delight the customer. I've never seen a business, and I've seen a lot of businesses, but I've never seen one that delights the customer that doesn't succeed. I mean, what you want is that customer the next day when they think, do I want to rent a car or do I want to buy some furniture? What goes through their mind? It's the place where they've had a great experience. A person has had a wonderful experience, a delighted experience in purchasing anything that isn't going to come back. And similarly, if the memory is of rudeness, indifference, whatever it may be, they're never going to come back. And as a small business owner, and as you grow, you have to not only be able to project that interest in people's well-being, in delighting them yourself, but you have to do it through other people. And you won't be able to do it through people who themselves do not feel they're being fairly treated, that their views aren't appropriately considered. So you really do have to learn to multiply yourself through other people.
And we talk about it as customer obsession as opposed to competitor obsession. So no matter how far you get out there in front of your competitors, you're still behind your customers. So they're always pulling you along. So customer obsession is a deep principle that underlies everything we do.
So no matter how good we are, we can still be better. You can always be better. Customers have a divine discontent, and they teach you if you listen to customers. So we watch for that, and we see patterns, and we can find places where it's not working, something's going wrong. What you really want to do is you take that, it's an anecdote, it's a single example, but you need to find the root cause. What went wrong deep inside the system? How did this happen? Because then you can fix it for everyone, so that particular problem will never happen again. You don't just fix the symptom, you have to fix the root cause. And that's been the secret to our operational success for 20 years. If you don't love your work, you're never going to be great at it. Deciding to work hard, deciding to use my gifts in certain ways, to challenge myself, to do things that I didn't think I could do, to put myself in uncomfortable situations. We all get, I would say to a young person, you can choose a life of ease and comfort, or you can choose a life of service and adventure. Which one of those, when you're 90 years old, are you going to be more proud of?
And say, you know, what's the most important key to success? I think it's hunger. It's not getting satisfied. You know, if you look at a Mark Benioff at Salesforce, if you look at Richard Branson's friend of mine, or you look at anyone you respect who's achieved at the highest level, intelligence is an incredibly important distinction and a valuable thing to have in life. But I always tell people, you can find so many intelligent people that can't fight their way out of a paper bag. What matters is hunger. A hunger that doesn't go away, a hunger to learn, a hunger to grow, a hunger to serve, a hunger to give, a hunger to create breakthroughs. Most people are hungry until they make a certain amount of money and then they get comfortable. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not about the money. It's not about the business. It's about your growth. Because every one of us either grows or dies. People ask me all the time, what does it take to be happy? I say one word, progress. Progress equals happiness, because achieving a goal feels good for how long? A week, a month, 3 months, and then there needs to be something else. And the reason for something else is because you got to grow. And I think when most people are pursuing success, I think what they're really pursuing is not a word, they're pursuing a greater quality of life. And in order to have an extraordinary quality of life, it's got to be life on your terms. And, you know, some people's idea of an extraordinary life is, you know, writing beautiful poetry or having a garden. Some people's idea is building $1 billion companies. Everyone has a different idea. So my approach to helping entrepreneurs, business people, or anyone is to say, you got to figure out what is an extraordinary life for you. What would that look like today? Not 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but today, the way you look at life alive instead of an old story. And then there's 2 skills you got to master. The first one is the science of achievement. And it's a science. I spent 4 years interviewing these people, and I interviewed the smartest financial people in the world, and I picked no one from the Lucky Sperm Club. Nobody that inherited it. They all started with nothing, became multi-billionaires. And what you learn is they do it different ways, but there's some universal patterns, and success leaves clues. If you apply the same results, it's a recipe. It'll work for you too. I've done it, other people have done it. But the second master lesson for an extraordinary life, I believe, is even more important. Because I've dealt with so many achievers that are still miserable. They got everything. They got their Academy Award, they got their Golden Globe, they got, you know, they took their company public, they got $1 billion net worth, and they're miserable. So to me, that's insane. And the reason is they missed the second master lesson of life, which I call the art of fulfillment. The beauty of life is our diversity. If you want to see the ultimate failure in life, it's success without fulfillment. If you can decide that success is life on your terms, but it's also a meaningful life where you found something you care about more than yourself that you want to serve, whether it's your family or a community or a mission or your company, then you're blessed.